Os YouTube, do you like action games? Do you like character action games? Well, I do. It's like a one-player fighting game, a more in-depth beat-em-up. Really, when you put those two things together, it really gets me going. Revolutionary for its kind, Devil May Cry set a foundation that is still emulated to this day, even if most action games today are Souls-like and I don't like them. But I do like when different people try to put their own spin on the genre or material. Well, not when everybody tries that. And this game being one of the first means that some of the smaller or refined details aren't there or had fully set in yet. But now that most of the preamble is out of the way, let's rock with the original Devil May Cry on the Devil May Cry HD collection on my PS3 because it's already plugged in.
Let's rock, baby.
Two millennia ago, there was a war between the human world and the underworld. However, a dark knight, whatever that is, woke up to justice and fought back the underworld's army alone. His name was Sparda. He defeated the demon lord Mundus and reigned over the human world, preserving harmony until his passing. I want to pause and really appreciate the animation on Sparda. I feel like they referenced someone in a suit because tokusatsu vibes are pretty strong. But for real, this game opens up on a moonlit night with someone from the Matrix falling out of the sky and walking up to the titular building, Devil May Cry. And to be extra about it, she smashes the owner's door down with the bike outside.
Whoa, slow down, babe.
How'd she start the bike? Oh well, we still get our exposition. The owner of the business, Dante, is not only the son of the legendary Sparda, but he's also lost his mother and brother 2 decades ago. He set up this business to find the demon that killed his family, and this lady gives him the world's harshest lineage test to see if he's the real deal. Oh yeah, 23andMe wasn't out in 2001, alright. Well, he passes with flying colors to say the least, and she asks him to finish his father's crusade against the underworld, all while looking like Dante's dead mother. There's just enough intrigue right off the bat. The woman, Trish, explains that the Emperor of the Underworld, Mundus, resurrected 20 years ago. And he's been trying to open a gate from the Underworld to the human world on the abandoned Malay Island. It's our job to stop him, and just as the gates close behind us, we're finally dropped into the gameplay. Devil May Cry is a pretty straightforward video game. If you listen to anyone talk about it, you'd know that it's one of the handful of games that came out from Resident Evil 4's pre-production, and the static camera angles hit you with that fun fact right out of the gate. Inside of the gate. This game hasn't even started yet, and we're getting stuff like this golden orb that lets you retry stages at a checkpoint after death, or this secret blue orb fragment that you'd never know was here your first time playing the game. But once we entered the castle for real, we figure out this game is mission based despite running through a fully connected game world. But Mission 1 does slowly get you used to not only the game's mechanics, but the design. You got red orbs that are used to unlock skills and doors for some godforsaken reason. You learn that there are some weird contextual jumping depending on where you are, such as getting onto this statue or doing long jumps. You got a wall jump that doesn't force you to go in the opposite direction, but where you hold the control stick. And you can even find secret orb caches that give you a buttload of red orbs. Good luck finding them, they're invisible, but are mostly on pointy/tall things. But after all of this movement tutorializing, it's put to the test as we pick up a key past the red sealed door and run into our first enemies. Simple marionettes that go down with simple swordplay and firearms, so let's put a pin on that as we find the last secret blue orb fragment, making a full blue orb and increase our health. We cut back through our main area to get into this room with a biplane until we're locked in here. We hit these runes on the wall to go to this battle arena, and this is the perfect place to talk about combat. You have a sword, 2 guns, and about 5 techniques to figure out. I said 2 guns, but Ebony and Ivory are a set. You'll get what I mean later. Your guns only work by locking on, but there's no range limit, so you at least know the direction of your enemy with the lock on, even if you can't see them. Your sword starts with 3 different combos that work on timing your button presses. Delay the 3rd hit for one combo and delay it even longer for another. It's pretty clumsy to be honest, but the rhythm isn't too hard to figure out after a little practice. If you're locked on and hold the stick away from an enemy while attacking with your sword, Dante will swing back, rising the enemy into the air, where you can follow up with more gunplay, or you can hold the button down and rise with them to send them back down with a helm splitter or shoot them from an air. This type of juggling will become the backbone of the series, dare I say the backbone of most character action games, but not this one. Not yet. After we kill these guys and then kill more back up the elevator, we head through the door, completing our first mission. You get ranked on speed, orbs obtained, and damage taken. Not that it matters, but speed and damage start at 500 and go down as soon as you pass the part time and take damage. The amount of orbs you need is hidden, so you're just hoping to find a secret cache to boost your score, and then you lose points for using items. All of this is to say, your rank doesn't matter. It's just a nice bonus to get orbs for doing well in a mission, and there's an extra bonus here, but we haven't gotten there yet, so I'll mention it when we do. All things considered, it's pretty simple. As you go through the game, you'll be getting more weapons and techniques to deal with a large assortment of enemies. Between missions or at a divinity statue, you can power up Dante, but you probably are only going to be able to buy one thing right now. So let's get this full blue orb and move on to the next level. Mission 2 is where you'll need to learn that Dante can interact with the environment. You press circle to get info on bookshelves, statues, this weird sword sticking out of the wall. I wonder what's gonna happen. Oh, I guess it's a good thing I'm still not monetized yet. But you can fix that by subscribing, sharing this video with a friend, or... Oh wait, I think I've seen this before. Say it with me.
Thundercats. Oh.
Wait, that might have been another 80s show. I'll get a second try. But we now have a real first weapon, Alistair. I think as it is right now, it's a little stronger than the starting Force Edge, but the main buff is that we now have access to a new ability. What that ability is? Give me a second. We're gonna go through this door at the top of the stairs to find another key, but also a shotgun on the table. Much stronger than your handguns, has some pushback, but the DPS is actually low enough to matter depending on the enemy type and what you want to do with them. But now you have to go back to the hallway into the courtyard to find another door to find a secret passage that gives you a key item in the room connected to the library. I know that probably sounded like a lot, but... Hey look, a new enemy type, Sin Scissors. They're pretty easy to deal with. You take your shotgun and then you shoot them twice. Sometimes it's more, but well, we'll get into that later too. Now after running around in this big weird circle, you might be wondering, where the hell do I go? Well, if you look at these spiders on the floor, you'll get your hint. Give our key item to the Skelly Pope here, and then the wall reveals itself to have a secret door in it, and you're done with mission 2. Now that we have Alistair, we can finally get new moves. Get Stinger. Lock on, push the stick forward as you attack, and you will zoom in on the enemy and stab them. The greatest opening hit of any character action game. But as we start up mission 3, we touch this weird item that shoots this weird beam to take us outside, where we walk across this weird bridge, but don't pick up these orbs, leave them alone, and then walk back and fall down. Oh, would you look at that, we're drowning. We make our way back up and we get our first boss fight with Phantom. I like to call him Mumble Mouth because he gets subtitles and the game thinks we can't understand him. But I can also say that for everyone else in this game.
You're sick, you got something inside that big body of yours.
Gotta love that 2001 sound mixing. Phantom will probably be your first wall when playing this game the first time. His big body is armored all around him except for his face, and then he can block your attacks with his legs. But if you watch for his openings and tells, you can jump out of the way when you feel like you're about to get hit. Jumping in these games is a very strong mechanic. You can cancel animations and it has a brief invincibility window. You can even send his fireball back in his face or just blow it up right there in his mouth. But your biggest asset is your new ability, the Devil Trigger. When you have 3 full runes under your health bar filled up, Dante can activate his Devil Trigger to make himself harder, better, faster, stronger, and he also recovers health. And that harder part isn't just for the bit, he becomes tougher, he doesn't get knocked back like he does before. It's pretty busted in this game, and it can allow you to be a bit more reckless when trying to learn an enemy's patterns. But I've played this game before, so Phantom isn't too much trouble, especially after restarting the game 3 times because I wasn't really feeling it in my previous 2 recordings. Phantom runs away, but we get our lion crest thingy and we run back to the broken bridge to try and get a slightly annoying blue orb fragment and do the most annoying thing in this game, the secret missions. Secret missions are little trials that award you blue orb fragments upon completing them, and they also get you bonus points when completing a level to boost your rank. They also take up time, and while I'd like to call it a balancing act, you're better off doing the secret mission than not, unless you fail it and just waste your time. Like I did, but I can still give you some tips on this one. The mission tries to teach you the quick kill for the Sin Scissors, but makes it more difficult than it needs to be by putting you underwater that slowly drains your health. You have to attack their scissors. They do this big repelling motion, and then you get up in their face with the shotgun and land a critical blow, killing them in one hit. While I fail the mission, I can still show you an example because I can do it, I just have performance anxiety. The shotgun trick won't work here because that would technically count as 2 hits, but like I said, the point is to attack the scissors themselves. Helm Splitter is good because it won't accidentally move you forward, and health isn't too big of a problem because if you're close to dying, the game will most likely give you a green orb, but once you've tired yourself out, you can walk back into the hallway to finish up the mission. Now, if you haven't played Devil May Cry before, you might be going, wow, Hawk is taking a normal amount of time to talk about this game. But if you have, you might be wondering, why am I being so detailed with this review of a game that is painfully straightforward, despite the circles it makes you run in? Well, that's the point. The Resident Evil DNA is a bit too strong for my liking. The reason I had to prep this game 3 times is because I got lost. These camera angles messed me up. These backgrounds, that Skelly Pope. I was in mission 2 for 10 minutes too long. The bridge section, that's really dumb. I don't like the level design of this video game. I don't even like the atmosphere. But I do only think one of them is bad, and the secret missions don't help. That's your hint on the one that I think is bad. Because the one trick to finding almost every secret mission in this game is to run backwards. At the best of times, immediately in the next mission. At the worst of times, after a boss fight completely unprompted. The fact I remembered where most of them were but just didn't do them at the right time made me so frustrated that I just had to stop recording the first time, then practice. But I stopped recording the second time because I still couldn't remember the right timing, and then I looked up a guide and it was easy sailing after that. So that's why I basically recorded this game 3 times, or at least tried to. I recorded it once, but the point is, maybe now this video can have some actual brevity to it and I'm not just running around in circles. I will tell you where some of these secret missions are, most of them actually, because they're just that annoying. But like I said before, our secret mission and the next mission is literally behind us in the boss room. You gotta step on baby spiders and shoot them with ebony and ivory. It's pretty easy. The next one is at the end of the hallway where you do the same thing in the divinity statue room. But between there, you gotta fight Phantom again. But as we learned in our boss fight, our devil trigger can mess him up. Especially when he has such low health now. Don't worry about him. He'll drop a good healing orb and 500 red orbs, so it's worth it to kill his ass. We go back into the courtyard to remove this force field and fight what I would consider to be a mini-boss enemy, a Shadow. I also hate how you get attacked right after cutscenes in this game. It's not cute. Shadows counter your sword strikes with projectiles, so your best bet is to deal damage while moving around their erratic attacks with your pistols. Then their core becomes exposed and you can't shoot them, so they bring out your sword to do as much advancing moves as you can so you don't get skewered by ground spikes. And it would be good if that was all Shadows had, but they have a timer until they die and explode, so they're doing their best to chase you around, so you're playing tag until they eventually kamikaze. Now, if you want to go and do the hardest secret mission in the game, at least for me, you're going to want to run back to the Puppet Coliseum under the plane garage where you have to fight 3 Shadows at the same time. Apparently I did this on a normal mode run in the past, and the only way I think I could have done that is with the Holy Water item. It's not quite a screen nuke for the tougher enemies, but it does do good damage. But you're going to want to use it when all of the Shadows are on the ground, because when they're up in the air, they don't seem to transform into their orb until they finish their attack. Either way, I also failed this one. Look, a special death animation. A good handful of enemies get these. Honestly, the best bet is probably to spam Holy Waters. A blue orb fragment is better than your score at this point, but you could just save scum killing the hallway Phantom for an easy 500 orbs if you're really worried about it, but you will have to save scum if you want to do this secret mission again, because it has to be a bug, because no other secret mission does this. If you fail this secret mission, you cannot do it again. So you save before you do it, and if you die, you just reset the mission. You keep all of your orbs, that's basically how you save scum. But finally moving on, we go up this weird tower to get this sword to put in this busty chest, and we find the different kind of Dark Knight. Huh, interesting. Nello Angelo is different than Phantom and another wall you might run into. Being humanoid means he's nimbler than our large lava spider friend, and when he blocks you a couple of times, he'll make his counters, so you better watch out for it. Or you could just walk behind him. What you really need to watch out for is when he teleports to a higher elevation and he'll smack you just as soon as you get up there. But after we beat him, we find out that he's a sore loser who seems to be into pendants. Big baby. Well, that orb that we got started some weird timer, but it's more than long enough to beat the Shadow in the courtyard and make your way to the door at the bottom of the tower. One of the easiest S ranks in this game, get that bonus. But now we're in the sewers because, of course we are. There are bugs here because, of course they are, and this big flaming goat head with scissors because, of course it is. Another mini-boss like enemy, more annoying than Sin Scissors because they have too much health and they aren't on screen long enough to do damage. This fight will give you a bit of intuition on dealing with attacks that you can't really see coming off screen. Yeah, he's annoying. Now that we have this other key, we can go back to the mirror room, stop it, and get a move on. If you hit that door that leads to the big square room with all the bugs in it, there's a secret mission in there where you need to get one of the dirt tarantulas to kill the other. One rough thing about secret missions in this game is that they don't automatically fail you if there is a fail state, like this one or the Sin Scissors one, but unlike that one that slowly kills you until you kill it, if you mess this one up, you can just go out the door and go back in again. But in our next mission we run into Phantom again. Did you know there's a quick kill? Wait, how long did this boss fight take me? Did you know there's a secret kill for this boss fight? If he jumps on the glass floor 3 times, he needs to be pretty centered for it to actually count, he'll fall to his death and end the boss fight. I can't remember how to get him to jump. Also, watch out for the raining meteors, they hurt. As Phantom dies, he realizes who he was messing with, and Trish fully understands who she's messing with. Anyway, here's a secret. And here's a grenade launcher. Apparently if you miss a weapon, a gun, they can show up again in a different place in the game later. I wouldn't know where though. I don't miss them. But now we've crossed the main bridge and we can no longer go back. Again, we're playing a mission-based video game. This doesn't matter, but we forge ahead anyway. We have a new enemy type, Blades. They're a little aggressive, they're a little tough, and they can guard a single attack. Just juke and jive and follow the flaming landing strips to the big gate in front. This is the second place where I got mixed up the first time because of these camera angles, but I'm doing better now. Actually, this game's doing a little better now. We have a platforming section that doesn't suck. Suck it, Broken Bridge. But we also have our second melee weapon of the game, Ifrit. Give me a second to talk about it. We got a new boss fight with this giant chicken.
Block off, Featherface, or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Griffin is a preview into what DMC 2 will be like, and by that I mean we just have to shoot him with ebony and ivory. Sure, you can get some damage in when he falls over, but he doesn't want you anywhere near him, so flock off, Featherface. After that's done, we light the torch and run into another new enemy, the Fetish, and not the fun sexy kind. Well, no. I think they have the fastest counter in this game, and it's just a flamethrower, so watch out. But we press on to the second red orb door of this game because I guess they forgot they did that once and went, oh yeah, let's do that again. Mission 10 is interesting. You have a light orb that will tell you the right path to take, but it will be absorbed by an enemy. You need to let the light orb reach the end of the path so you don't go down the wrong way, so keep killing enemies until it's free. And I never talked about the grenade launcher or Ifrit yet, so let's get into it. The grenade launcher is so strong that it almost makes your shotgun worthless, except for fighting scissor enemies. As for Ifrit, it's a charging fisting weapon. You hold the button down to power up your punches or your kicks, and the fire even helps out depending on the type of enemy you're fighting. Speaking of, your guns can also charge up demonic energy of the element of what you have, be it Alistair's lightning or Ifrit's fire, and you can fire those off too. I forgot that was in this game. But overall, it's nice to have a melee weapon that is completely different than all of the swords that you had up until now. It's got a nice dive kick, it's really good. As we keep moving on to the next mission, run backwards to get a secret mission. This one will try to teach you how to do an enemy step. In this game, you can jump off an enemy again just like a wall jump. It's pretty useful, it's just another set of invincibility frames. The game even tells you about if you check the actions tab in the main menu. It'll tell you all of Dante's skills, but I still feel like you have to intuition it a bit during this mission. Well, you can only jump off the wall once. What makes you think you could jump off enemies multiple times? But you'll figure it out. Also, there's a better mission later. But this is the one area in this game that I think has some fun level design. You're running all around this botanical garden. Why is this next to a coliseum? I'm not some kind of coliseumist, but moving to the background or finding a hole to get an item feels pretty satisfying. I wish the game overall had this kind of openness than its normal overall back and forth level design. Kill the Syncythe, he sucks, but the super jump is pretty neat. But we need to get the brain that I keep thinking is a blue orb every time I play this game, and you also need to get the blue orb fragments that are actually laying around in this area. And we head into the other two doors ready for our second round against Nello Angelo. This is where you learn Ifrit is pretty good against him. Ifrit is pretty good against everything, actually. The blowback of the clash attacks feel less intense, your attacks feel faster, Devil Trigger Kick 13 burns through his guard. Oh look, he's dead. That was kind of close for someone talking so big, but you head to the top to unlock the door at the bottom and we find a ghost ship for our next mission. I get that we're on an island, but this still feels a little weird to me. When you do eventually get into the water, you're in a first-person view and take on a submarine or airplane-like control, meaning your up and down is inverted. And if this is a problem for you, it's either your first time or you might be a heathen. Don't worry, God isn't judging you if you're playing your first-person games uninverted, but I am. As we move into the ship, you get the needle gun that only works underwater and is your only weapon underwater. we also head to the deck and do this very specific thing for this blue orb fragment. I still hate the secrets in this game. Can't just stand at the top of the bow, you have to stinger from the crow's nest. Then you fight Griffin again. Stupid plasma bird thing. Kill him the same way. And we've done all of this just to enter the captain quarters to finish the mission. But now we have the shortest mission in the game where you just go through the flooded ship and oh, would you look at that, I got an S rank. Now go back into the ship and look at the skeleton man because that's the secret mission for this chapter. This ship is everything bad about this video game, I swear to God. So where exactly did this ship take us? Well, we went in like a small circle and we're at the other side of the port, not even the Colosseum. It's really weird. Why do we even come here? We got like a rod or something. Wow, I didn't even care. Staff of Hermes, sure man. So fast forwarding to the next mission, you're gonna run back to the skull face down the elevator in the last mission next to the waterfall to get that secret mission. And at the Colosseum gate, you're going to make a choice of going right or left at the end of the entrance hall. Go to the blue door to get the item to open the main door to the Colosseum. Go to the red door to get the last gun, Nightmare Beta. And now I know I skipped over a few blue orb fragments so far, but this one is dumb, so I'll tell you about it. Under the ledge of Nightmare Beta, there are some blades. Kill them and then jump up to touch the bottom of the ledge. Alright, that's how you got the blue orb to show up, because this game is Now we can open up the front doors of the Colosseum and we get our final fight with Griffin. Ignore him and go to the top layer over the bridge to get another blorb fragment. Now you can do what you did before, or you can play with Nightmare Beta. It shoots off energy shots that ricochet off walls and go through enemies. If you get him in the right spot, Nightmare Beta tears him to shreds. Too bad it uses up Devil Trigger. Man, I wish it didn't do that. I mean, I get it. It'd be broken if it didn't do that, but you know. Oh, but you want to know what else tears Griffin to pieces? That. Looks like Bird Brain finally gets who he's messing with, but he still wants that smoke, so he calls on his master Mundus to give him more power to finish the fight. But Mundus decides that Griffin has failed his boss quota and kills the bird himself. This doesn't sit well with Dante, who further vows to finish what his father started and kill Mundus. We hop down the elevator to get our ticket back to the main castle and start to wrap up this video game. As the next mission starts, this game is nice enough to give us a free full blorb. Now we leave the Colosseum and go right back in for a secret mission because it just doesn't make sense. Now this is a good enemy step challenge because it just makes sense, very intuitive. Air hike, the double jump is really useful for this, but I don't know if you have that on your first playthrough. Make sure, just get every skill once. Just don't bother like Stinger level 2, you don't need that. But now that we have the Wheel of Fortune, we can give it a spin and lower the bridge with a laser. Didn't even have to buy a vowel. But now that we're back in the castle, it's pitch black, but the light of these blorb fragments shows us our way, even this one that's hard to see. What isn't hard to see is the rune circle that calls down another enemy type, Plasma. It's like a small, unserious doppelganger fight, but a little easier, but also a little annoying. They'll copy your moves, which is whatever, but it splits itself in half or even thirds sometimes, so you might get overwhelmed for about a second. But a second is enough to kill you in this game, so you still have to be a little careful. Anyway, here's another blorb fragment that doesn't make sense. We run back to Phantom's room and find the worst boss in this game, Nightmare. Wait, is this Nightmare Alpha? Or would it be Nightmare 1.0? Well, Big Alpha doesn't get hurt until you light up the room by hitting one of the wall runes. But if you somehow don't manage to do that and get eaten, you'll get warped into its body. And you have to fight a dead boss. A much weaker version of a dead boss, but a dead boss nonetheless. When you kill it, you break out and you do some proportional damage. But when you do light up the area, you can do direct damage. And even then, he hides his weak spot in his big dumb body. And when he does show it, it's still able to hit you and waste your time. Either use the grenade launcher and dodge until it's over to move in and do direct damage, or Devil Trigger through the pain. It will typically show its weak point twice, and the second time is your chance to do some easier direct damage. Man, most annoying boss in the game. Now, instead of finishing the mission, once again walk backwards to the plane room in the hallway to start a new secret mission where you kill 4 shadows in 3 different rooms. Now make your way to the broken bridge, and if you had left those red orbs alone the first time, they get nice and big and give you more bang for your buck. We hold up our wand to the sculpture and we've unlocked the mirror world in the next mission. And as interesting as Mirror World is, you want to go back outside. You have to cross the bridge towards the castle without falling into the drink. Then you have to fly over the bridge in the secret mission to get the Blorb fragment. You need Night Raid and probably an extra magic upgrade to make things easier. Next, get back into the Mirror World, fight these frost enemies who are just blades with more moves. And then we also find the skeleton T-Rex that shoots fireballs at us. I think it's a bit late in the game to force you to do this. Phantom's been dead for a while now. Spin this mirror, wait in this spot for the blue orb fragment to fall, pretend you're Mega Man and jump on these visible invisible blocks, and head back down the hallway to get your next Nello Angelo fight. I think he's supposed to look like somebody, but this 2001 PS2 video game is doing its best. This fight gives me a few problems because I like to use Alistair even though Ifrit would be the best choice, and the summon swords are a pain in the ass. But other than that, it's pretty much the same fight as always. It takes me about 3 times to beat him even when people aren't watching me. Either way, he explodes for real this time and drops a pendant that looks just like Dante's, with a pretty poignant memory running through his mind.
Dante, happy birthday. Wow.
And then we realize just how evil Mundus and even Trish is. But now that we have another half of our father's amulet,
And by the power of Grayskull,
I'm not really feeling it this time. We now have the Demon Sword Sparta. It's as strong as Alistair is in Devil Trigger, but you only have Alistair's sword attacks, so no air raid, no air hike, none of that. And you can't even enter Devil Trigger, so no health regen. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's worth it. But I also don't use round trip, so it might be busted for all I know. It's not. Well, let's go through a bunch of portals to get to another underwater section with another Blorb fragment you'd probably stumble into. This one's not that bad. But this one on the staircase is annoying because you'd only get it by falling here on accident. We find an egg and go back to the courtyard to fight Nightmare again. This time with the chance of Nello Angelo if you get eaten. But now it's time to go to hell. After a little more backtracking, what I thought was Mirror World was actually Painting World, I guess, because we go into the other painting, and then we actually go in Mirror World, because things don't make sense to me anymore. Like these 2 Blorb fragments that you should keep your eye on, because once again, the secrets in this game are a pain in my ass. We specifically came here to get the Philosopher's Stone, but these nobodies are getting in our way with their erratic movements and eye bombs. They even suck up your DT meter, so you gotta kill them fast, and even then, they'll get real big and even more erratic, but that's just something easier to hit. And speaking of losing your Devil Trigger, you can get it back by taunting in this game with the R2 button. It builds up quite a bit, so it's worth it to do. Either way, we kill them, go back to the Nightmare Puddle in the real world, and jump into the underworld. It's like it always is. Dark, fleshy, and damp.
Colon. Why'd it have to be the colon?
Like it always is. I hate it, so I guess it's working. We make our way up this poop chute until we find Trish in trouble. Oh no, and now we have to fight Nightmare again. Oh no. But partway through the battle, Trish betrays us, and while it makes the boss fight a little harder, Dante is strong enough to make his way through. Oh, I hate it here. Even though Trish betrayed him, Dante is still compelled to save her because, well, she looks just like his mom. But that's not enough for him to let bygones be bygones. He seems really broken up about the whole thing, must still be feeling bad about killing his brother. But while Dante walks away, this isn't the last we'll see of Trish. There's nothing left to do but forge ahead, and this time we have a secret mission that I don't even have to run backwards for. It's just located in this unassuming wall of flesh that doesn't look any different than any other wall of flesh. Anyway, I do find it weird that this secret mission gives you a special item, but it's the last one, so whatever. It's the Bangle of Time. Use up your Devil Trigger for the ability to stop time. And again, cool, but I really like healing. I know I could be playing the game better and not getting hit, but boy, would you look at that. I think the rest of this area is kinda dull, so we're already at the end of the game. Look, visual irony. We're in a pure white chapel, and the bad guy is this pure white statue. Mundus starts to yap at us and distracts us with a chained up Trish to do some damage, but before he can finish us off, Trish breaks free to take a hit for us, but that doesn't stop Mundus from zapping, but Dante does. Mundus assumes his fallen angel Kingdom Heartless form and takes us to the Space Harrier dimension. Dante assumes his father's Dark Knight Devil Trigger, and we start shooting for our lives. You have to take out the demon runes to do direct damage and land direct hits to build up your DT gauge to fire off a giant dragon attack. Then you hit phase 2 where you're up against this giant monster in a lava area. You don't get health between phases, so you need to be a little careful in this lava area because it will do damage to you. It's not hard, it's just I might have gotten a little tired by the end of this and died. You can also fill up your DT gauge by slashing these floating orbs around the arena. In fact, Devil Trigger is the only way you're doing any real damage, so focus on them when you need to. You also apparently can kill these dragons for health, but I don't know anything about that. Revenge achieved, I'm out of here. Dante returns to Trish and laments how he couldn't save her, probably thinking about his mom, how he couldn't
Fill your dark soul with light.
So we put our past behind us as we have to run out of this castle because it's going to explode, I guess. Why? But on the way out, I learn a couple of new things, like time stop doesn't stop timers. Interesting. We have to hoof our way back to the plane, and I think the game pretty much railroads you there so you can't get lost. But as we're about to make a break for it, the floor breaks underneath our feet and we fall below into the sewers. Oh, god damn it, it's always the sewers. Mundus isn't dead. We gotta fix that.
Mother.
Oh, don't mess with me, video game. Ah yeah, keep teasing me, video game. Build up your Devil Trigger and let the bullets fly. Jackpot. Now with him dead, we have one final airplane sequence to blast our way out of here and get some kind of sappy message tacked on at the end about fairness in the sky or something. Dante changes the name of his business for some dumb reason and we roll credits.
Get it over with in 10 minutes. Can't let a single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
And that's the end of Devil May Cry. If there's one thing I can say about this game, it's that it is distinctly something of its own, even compared to something like a Resident Evil, which is its inspiration, or even something like a Castlevania, which is comparable to its mood. This combat system makes it its own. Dante makes it its own. So while it has some elements that I don't personally like in it, those same elements are still executed on very well. As I said earlier, not just with this game, but pretty much Devil May Cry on the whole, on the surface level, I don't particularly vibe with what it's putting down. But for this game specifically, big dreary castle, weird pirate ship, Satan's colon, no thanks. But Dante as a character is able to help me get through this. The type of game that this is helps me get through this. The way the music slowly builds up in an eerie way, but then immediately picks up pace to get you in the mood to fight, brings in this contrasting mixture of vibes together. You have this gothic nature that permeates this entire video game, yet Dante has a bit more of a rocker aesthetic, a visual kei, I think, it's something close to that. Yet, the music in this game, which really hammers that feeling, that lull into excitement, is mostly electronic, even though the series will get a more metal-esque sense going forward. A lot forward, I can't remember what Devil May Cry 2 sounds like. And that's not to say things have to be a video game for me to enjoy something like this. I mean, I enjoy Goblin Slayer. That low-key has the same vibe as Devil May Cry, if not pushed further sometimes. But this also being a video game that I can control elevates it to a new level. I don't need to feel dread because Dante doesn't. I don't need to be scared because Dante is the most powerful person in the room at all times, and because of that, I'm always in control. Also because it's a video game. Now, dialing into the narrative, it's pretty simple, but that's not inherently a problem. We follow a man on his quest to bring justice to the demon that killed his family. Along this quest, we experience Dante exhibit all of the righteous qualities of his father as he also takes up the mantle of a noble demon, and the demon that was created solely to trick him proves that that rare quality can still be found today given the right motivation, environment, and circumstance. And good triumphs over evil or something. It's an hour-long narrative in a 4-hour game. There's not a lot to pick up on, but there are some tasty bits of fluff though. One of the great things about Dante is that he solely exists to be cool, but in a way that's different than characters from the 80s and 90s. That's just the bluntest way I can say it. A character designed to be cool without swearing or smoking, and it works. But even though he's not doing that, he's still full of one-liners, sarcasm, and confidence. He truly embodies the saying, "Devil may care." And while he doesn't go through an arc, he does get pushed to an emotional limit by having his feelings be toyed with this entire game. Trish looking like his mom entices the whole story by order of and created by Mundus, murderer of his family. He kills his brother who he already thought was dead but was manipulated by Mundus. Trish, who looks like his mom, then betrays him at the worst possible time in the story because of Mundus. So he's really mad. So even though he still ends up saving Trish, he still gives her a lashing. And then Mundus kills her, so he's really mad. So before this game ends, Dante might have been able to get his entire family justice. He wasn't really able to save anyone, and in turn killed and lost the people he thought he was getting that justice for. That's why even if it's super cheesy, you can still empathize with his sadness over what you think is Trish's death. But luckily for him and us, this game's tone isn't that depressing, so Trish is actually alive and we get to end on a high note. Even if it's only for a bit part, Nello Angelo gets some character bits that push through the mind control to set up for the reveal later in the game. All the little hints and the way that he moves and taunts you is good setup for when he takes off the helmet. And while this early PS2 game isn't doing these twins any favors, it's these actions that bring them all together. There's also a costume later in the game that brings the look together as well, but we'll save that for later. Then there's Trish herself, someone with an arc as small and quick as it is. It's held up by the contrast between Dante and Mundus. Mundus may be your standard bad guy, but with him actively betraying and belittling his minions, it makes Trish's turn make sense. She was shown genuine care and she returned it in kind, and then is reassured of her answers by the one who saved and fought for her. Heck, the name of the business is even named after their experience. Ironically, because she did cry. I always thought that was dumb. I forgot that the name is even changed by the end of the game. So going in, I'm always like, man, I don't get why this game calls it Devil Never Cries. And it's like, oh, they changed it. Is that like a billing thing? Like if it cries, it's not a devil and therefore they can't go kill it. Is it business? But putting this small story aside, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this game, the gameplay. I gave you a good taste of it during the run through, but let's focus on certain points. DMC as a series is known for being pretty hard. I know, we've been over this. Learn the bosses, don't get hit, but each video game means it in a different way, and this one can hurt you real bad. But when you do get Devil Trigger and you're used to a game like this, you can get away with being a little ignorant. You know, ignorant means that you don't really know any better. I do. I'm being a little stupid. the damage you do, not taking stun anymore, the rate of health you get back, the rate Devil Trigger even builds up. These guys are dead. I don't have to be smart, but that lack of stun can backfire on you if you aren't paying attention to your health. And speaking of health, people will tell you that this game is stingy with its health, but it's really not. A lot of fights in this game lock you into battle rooms, and by the end of them they will give you a green health orb, a gorb if you will. The only problem is that the size and health return isn't consistent. You can get a big one, it's not a lot, you can get a small one and it's whoa. Even in rooms where enemies constantly respawn, you're gonna get health every 3 to 5 kills, it depends on how tough they are. Either way, you're getting enough health to reach another checkpoint, and that's generally how this game works. That's why they give you a lot of yellow orbs. If you're getting stuck in this game, you're probably getting stuck during a fight instead of an overall chaptered base, I don't have a lot of health. But if I had to say someplace where it might be kinda stingy, it might be in the demon's butthole, but that's the end of the game. And also a demon's butthole, so, you know. But also, if you don't care about your score, you can just use healing items, and those are actually kinda stingy. You can only buy one healing item from the shop and find a handful of them in the entire game, but to be fair to the developers, they only give you full heals, so I guess they wouldn't be able to throw those out like candy. So the ones they do throw out like candy are the one for your Devil Trigger. You get a lot of Holy Orders too. In fact, you get more untouchables than you do healing items. An invincible, infinite Devil Trigger star. Or I could just be blind to them, who knows? They put secrets wherever they feel like it and it doesn't make sense sometimes. But you still have to remember that if you do want that high score, it's not that you can't use items, it's just, well, I hope you know what you're doing and don't get hit. And when you combine the gamer pride of getting a high score and the gamer hoarding instinct of not using your items because there might be a final secret boss that they need to save it for. So most people aren't going to use them anyway. The only reason gold orbs get used in this game is because you don't have a choice. Unless you hard reset the game, in which again, it doesn't matter anymore. But you want to know what else doesn't matter? Your score doesn't matter, and that's probably by far one of my favorite things about DMC as a character action game series. Let's just say, other games in this genre, made by the same man, make your score matter by hiding unlocks behind it grading you, and I think that sours the overall experience. The lack of innovating on how you find secrets in game design led by that person ruins the whole experience. I have a lot of feelings about Platinum games, which I do not want to talk about. But for Devil May Cry games, the only thing you get for doing well in a level is getting more orbs, and because this game doesn't care about your combo score for mission ranks, getting stylish combos is also only for the sake of getting more orbs in that specific instance of killing that enemy. The higher your rank is when you kill that enemy, the more orbs you get. It's pretty simple. It's this and the secret mission bonus points that level out this game's ranking system, though the orb bonus is mostly gained by finding secret orb caches that are invisible, so, you know, it can't all be good. And even when it comes to getting a stylish rank in this game, you can just swap between firing your grenade launcher and using a move like Stinger and call it a day. You saw what I did to Griffin. Devil Trigger handguns got me S rank. It's mostly about not getting hit, but let's use this as an opportunity to talk about our weapons and combat. DMC 1 is pretty simple. You have two weapon types, sword and gauntlets. Sorry, swords and gauntlet. I know the second one is said plural like pants, but it's 4-to-1 in Sword's favor. And because of that, it feels like the whole game is designed around swords, almost to the point that Ifrit feels kinda broken. All of these flying enemies that attack your recovery frames go down pretty easy to a super strong and mobile dive kick. Nello Angelo's blocking gets overpowered by a move like Kick 13, and I'm pretty sure Inferno is just the strongest move in the game bar none. And then the sword swords themselves have weird quirks that can put you off of one or another. Sparta doesn't have a devil trigger for some dumb reason. Really should have unlocked after you beat the game, but whatever. Force Edge is worthless unless you want to do a funny challenge run, but it has no moves, so that would just be boring. Which means Alistair with its special moves is the best option in this game. Seriously, why did it take them 4 games to make double jump a universal skill? And then there are our enemies that keep the combat fresh, but some of them are a little bit too repetitive. There's like 3 different types of marionettes and they're easy enough, but there are also 3 different types of sin enemies and I only need 1. Stop going through walls and let me hit you bastards. And like I said, Frost are just stronger blades, but at least they get new moves. Some of those new moves are really annoying, but then you just bully them. But then that's just a little boring. But hey, they show you the elemental difference between Ifrit and Alistair. That's neat, I guess. Shadow is probably the most involved out of all these normal enemies, which is why I call it a mini-boss. And even then, hurry up and die already, you stupid cat. As for the bosses themselves, Nello Angelo is the best one in this game, hands down, while the rest are just kinda there. Nightmare would be kinda neat if the soft lock-on on this game wasn't annoying and I just didn't hit the wall because Nightmare's too freaking big. Griffin is somehow boring and annoying, and Phantom's just there. Oh right, Mundus. I don't like Space Harrier that much, and the second form is just boring. Though the demon entries in the pause menu does make things a little bit more interesting in how it tells you tips and tricks. It's how you learn to stand on the Shadow's spike to shoot down its body and kill it as fast as you can. And while I've already complained about the level design, it wasn't enough. Honestly, it's a fourth of the reason why I walked you through the game as hard as I did, because I really needed to nail in how awful it is to find secret missions or how awkward it is at the start of this game. The swimming section is weird, you run in too many circles for me to find the literal level design charming. A mission-based, straightforward maze-like game is really odd to me. I don't know why it's like this. Damn you, Resident Evil. Honestly, it's the mission structure that makes unlocking stuff feel even more arbitrary than it should. Not just the secret missions, but all the key items that you're always picking up. What is this red rock? What is this yellow rock? I don't know and I don't really care. It even makes changing the environment not as exciting as it could be, and I love that. However, the saving grace of this short video game is that once you know your way around it, everything is easy enough to get to, and for a game that wants you to replay it multiple times, skipping all the superfluous stuff feels really good. And that, at least for me, is the true charm of games like this. Most people hardly finish video games, let alone replay them, so you need something that you can beat in an afternoon to get this type of feeling across. To be honest, it's the fact that replaying this game as much as I did is what endeared me to it once again. I really wasn't feeling it after my first playthrough, and the second attempt of trying to get as much as I could without a guide was also really frustrating me. So I ended up swallowing my pride and picked one up. It's not like the guide can play this game for me, so I didn't have to feel bad about it. And once again, just to drive it home, the secrets in this game suck, so I felt vindicated the whole time. But slowly getting used to this game again and knowing I'm doing better made me appreciate the time that I spent with it. That feeling is what I like most about video games, and the fact that they make getting health upgrades that are already fragmented the hardest thing about this game sucks. I think it's really counterintuitive to it all when only a handful of those secret missions even try to teach you secrets of this game that it doesn't even want to say out loud. It's obtuse for no reason other than to be obtuse. But because I was feeling myself a little bit, I decided to beat hard mode for the first time. First up is just me starting up a new file to get footage. Enemies get remixed, harder ones show up earlier, they do more damage, they're more aggressive, you do less damage to bosses, and your devil trigger restores health slower. I personally find damage modifiers pretty cheap when it comes to making things harder, to be honest, but it made me actually focus on dodging and playing smart for once, so I can't say it's the worst thing ever. It just feels so artificial to me though. I think the more aggressive attack patterns are good enough. Oh, and before I forget, there's an easy automatic mode in this game. You need to... Wait, despite some of the footage, I'm actually kinda good at this video game and I never unlocked it. You need to use a vital star or a yellow orb in the first mission, just use a yorb in the second mission, or use 2 yorbs in the third mission. That's specific and weird. Like hard mode, easy mode is damage and health modifiers but in your favor, but the automatic of easy automatic is that it does combos for you by just mashing a button. I think I did a little bit of that when I played DMC3 for the first time. It's annoying. But if you do beat the game on easy automatic, you can't raise it up to hard mode for a new game plus like you could on normal mode, so you're just stuck there forever. Probably because of how it handles blue orbs by just giving you extra health, so you don't really need to find them and you just buy 2 in the store. But back to hard mode, I got curious about an old file to see where I had left off, and it was right with the fight with Griffin on the boat, and I tried it, got annoyed, slept on it, and came back the next day and beat his ass. Sure, hard mode's a little rough, but if you'd already gotten a blue orb fragment, there's now a free yellow orb there, which is why I feel the game is designed from checkpoint to checkpoint more so than restricting you from health. But overall, I think I did better on my hard mode run than my normal playthrough, which just goes to show that repetition bears fruit. Your reward for beating hard mode is Dante Must Die, the same enemy layouts as hard mode, but once again even more damage from bosses, plus enemies can enter their own devil trigger state. In closed off rooms, there's even a timer that counts down until every enemy will enter a DT state, even the ones that haven't shown up yet, so it's a true test of your mastery of the game. It's too much for me to bother in this game, so I didn't do it. But your reward for beating that mode is unlocking Super Dante. You get unlimited Devil Trigger, which is a series staple for beating its last challenge. Some people find it weird that that's what the game gives you after completing it because, well, what's the point of trivializing the game? But I think your reward for proving that you've mastered it should allow you to trivialize it. But I can see the idea of unlocking that like at the end of a normal hard mode, but you're not able to use it on Dante Must Die until you beat that normally. I'm either or about it. Should've just gave Sparta the Devil Trigger, that's all I'm saying. But don't leave yet, there's more things I didn't mention just from beating hard mode, so I can wrap this up on a high note. For just beating hard mode, you unlock the ability to choose what difficulty to start the game on, so if you want to do a fresh file on hard mode or Dante Must Die, you can, you weirdo. You also unlock a new costume, the legendary Dark Knight. You dress Dante up like his dad, or you become Sparta, same difference. He has this cool shadow that shows its Devil Trigger form on the ground, and you get a new sword, Yamato. It's like a second Alistair that lets you use Devil Trigger a little earlier on a fresh run. The sword even turns into Sparta when you do Devil Trigger. I don't think it gets a power buff, but it's neat. The original Devil May Cry was revolutionary. Things that are done in this game are still being done today, and if it isn't, then it's been refined from where it originated. I'm looking at you, Time Stop. Seriously, I'm looking at you, Time Stop. Everybody's gotta stop using you. Well, it's actually your big sister Time Slowdown's fault, but, well, I don't want to talk about that either. But that just goes to show you how foundational this game is, even if it's second from the bottom of DMC games based purely on gameplay and me pressing buttons. That might be the hottest take of this review. Ship it and clip it. Haha, I'm joking. I already did that. But me explaining that is for a future video. This one's over. Is the original Devil May Cry a little dated? Yeah, but it will give you a vibe that the other games can't. But on its own, that's really all it can give you. If you actually appreciate video games, design, and the evolution of gameplay, it's nice to see where it all started and how it was carried forward. But if you were born after a PS2 and you've started playing action games like with DMC4 or Bayonetta, I don't know, man, going backwards is kinda rough. You need the emotional context of the year 2001 to appreciate this video game, but I think you can do it, and it's worth it. DMC1 is old, but gold. So until we meet again, mata ao, until we meet again.